Hey, Jerry, welcome back to our podcast. How's it going?
Hey, Tom. It's going great. Excited to be here as always. So, what are we chatting about today?
Today, I thought we could just dive into a simple topic my day. Let's just talk about what a typical day looks like for each of us. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. It's always interesting to get a glimpse into someone else's daily routine. Why don't you start, Tom? What's a typical day like for you?
Sure thing. My days are pretty structured during the week. I usually wake up around 6:30 a.m. The first thing I do is reach for my phone to turn off the alarm, and then I try to resist the urge to check emails or social media right away. Instead, I go straight to the kitchen to make myself a cup of coffee. How about you, Jerry? What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
I try to get up around the same time, but I must admit, I'm not always successful. I sometimes hit the snooze button a few too many times. When I finally get up, I usually head straight to the bathroom to wash my face and brush my teeth. It helps me wake up a bit more. Coffee is definitely on the agenda, though. I can't function without my morning cup. Do you have any morning rituals besides coffee?
Absolutely. After coffee, I like to spend about 10 to 15 minutes meditating. It helps me clear my mind and set a positive tone for the day. Once that's done, I do a quick workout, usually some stretching and a short run if the weather is nice. How about you? Do you have any exercise routines in the morning?
I try to, but I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be. I usually do some stretching and maybe a bit of yoga if I have the time. I've found that it really helps with my posture and just feeling good throughout the day. After that, it's breakfast time. What about you, Tom? What's your go-to breakfast?
I'm pretty simple when it comes to breakfast. I usually have some oatmeal with fruits and nuts. It's quick, healthy, and keeps me full until lunch. Sometimes I'll switch it up with a smoothie if I'm in the mood for something different. What do you usually have for breakfast?
I love a good smoothie, but on most days I go for eggs and toast, maybe some avocado if I have it on hand. It's filling and gives me a good amount of energy to start the day. Once breakfast is done, I usually dive into my work. How about you? What's your workday like?
My workday starts around 9 a.m. I work from home most of the time, so I have a dedicated home office setup. The first thing I do is check emails and prioritize my tasks for the day. I try to tackle the most important or challenging tasks in the morning when I'm most alert. How do you structure your workday?
Pretty similarly, actually. I also start around 9 a.m. and try to get the tough stuff out of the way first. I'm a big fan of the Pomodoro technique. It helps me stay focused and gives me regular breaks. Have you ever tried it?
Yes, I have. It's a great way to stay productive. I use it sometimes when I have a lot of little tasks to get through. I also make sure to take short breaks every hour or so to stretch and give my eyes a break from the screen. Do you work from home too, Jerry?
Yeah, I do. It's been an adjustment, but I like the flexibility it offers. I try to stick to a routine to keep myself disciplined. Around noon, I take a break for lunch. Do you have a set lunchtime, Tom?
I do. I usually take lunch around 12:30 p.m. I try to step away from my desk and eat something healthy. It's a good time to recharge. What do you usually have for lunch?
I like to keep it light for lunch, maybe a salad or a sandwich. Sometimes I'll have leftovers from dinner. After lunch, I usually take a short walk if the weather is nice. It helps me clear my head and get ready for the afternoon. What about you, Tom? How do you spend your lunch break?
I do something similar. I find that getting outside for a bit really helps. Even just a short walk around the block makes a difference. After that, it's back to work. My afternoons are usually filled with meetings and catching up on any remaining tasks. How do you tackle your afternoons?
Afternoons can be a bit of a drag, but I try to keep my energy up. I usually have a cup of tea around 3 p.m. to give me a little boost. I focus on finishing up any remaining tasks and prepping for the next day. Do you have any specific strategies for staying productive in the afternoon?
I find that having a to-do list helps a lot. It keeps me on track and makes sure I don't forget anything important. I also try to schedule my meetings in the early afternoon so that I have some uninterrupted time later in the day to focus on deep work. How do you handle your work-life balance, Jerry?
That's a tough one. It's easy to let work spill over into personal time, especially when you're working from home. I try to set a hard stop time, usually around 6 p.m. After that, I shut down my computer and focus on unwinding. Do you have any tips for maintaining a good work-life balance?
Setting boundaries is definitely key. I also make sure to schedule some me time in the evenings. Whether it's reading, watching a show, or just relaxing with my family, it's important to disconnect from work. Speaking of evenings, what do you usually do to unwind after a long day?
I like to cook dinner. It's a great way to relax and unwind. After that, I'll either watch a movie, read a book, or catch up with friends and family. I also try to get in a bit of exercise, maybe a walk or some light stretching. How about you, Tom? What's your evening routine like?
Evenings are my time to relax too. I enjoy cooking dinner as well. It's a nice way to end the day. After dinner, I'll usually watch a show or read. I try to avoid screens for at least an hour before bed to help me wind down. Do you have any bedtime rituals?
I try to stick to a regular bedtime, usually around 10 p.m. Before bed, I like to do some light stretching or meditation. It helps me relax and get ready for sleep. I also try to avoid screens before bed, but it's not always easy. What about you, Tom? Any tips for a good night's sleep?
Sticking to a regular sleep schedule is definitely important. I also make sure my bedroom is cool and dark, which helps me sleep better. Reading before bed is a great way to relax and wind down. Any good book recommendations, Jerry?
Oh, there are so many. Recently, I've been reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It's a fascinating read about the choices we make and the different paths our lives can take. What about you, Tom? Read any good books lately?
I've heard great things about that one. I've been reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's all about building good habits and breaking bad ones. It's really insightful and practical. So, Jerry, after we've shared our daily routines, what do you think is the most important part of your day?
I think the most important part of my day is the morning. How I start my day sets the tone for the rest of it. If I can start on a positive and productive note, it usually carries through. What about you, Tom?
I agree, mornings are crucial, but for me, I think it's also important to have a good balance throughout the day, taking breaks, staying productive, and then making sure to wind down properly in the evening. It's all about balance. Any final thoughts on your daily routine, Jerry?
I think it's important to find what works best for you. Everyone's different, and what works for one person might not work for another. It's all about finding that balance and making sure you're taking care of yourself. How about you, Tom? Any last words of wisdom?
Just to echo what you said, finding what works for you is key. And don't be too hard on yourself if things don't always go as planned. Every day is a new opportunity to start fresh. Well, Jerry, this has been a great chat. Thanks for sharing your day with me.
Thanks for sharing yours too, Tom. It's always great to catch up and hear about someone else's routine. Until next time.
Absolutely, Jerry. Until next time. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of My Day with Tom and Jerry. Have a great day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of My Day with Tom and Jerry. How are you doing today, Jerry?
Hey, Tom. I'm doing great, thanks. Ready for another deep dive into our daily routines?
Absolutely. Today, I thought we could get a bit more specific about some of the challenges we face throughout the day and how we overcome them. Sound good?
Sounds perfect. There are always little challenges and obstacles that pop up. It'll be interesting to hear how you handle them. Why don't you start us off?
Sure thing. One of the biggest challenges I face is staying focused, especially when there are so many distractions at home. I've found that having a dedicated workspace really helps. Do you have any tips for staying focused, Jerry?
Staying focused can definitely be tough. I use noise-canceling headphones to block out any background noise. And like I mentioned before, the Pomodoro technique really helps. I also try to minimize distractions by keeping my phone on silent and away from my desk. What about when you hit a productivity slump, Tom? How do you get back on track?
When I hit a slump, I try to take a short break and do something completely different, like a quick walk or some stretching. It helps to reset my mind. Sometimes just stepping away from my desk for a few minutes makes a big difference. Do you ever struggle with procrastination, Jerry?
Oh, absolutely. Procrastination is a big one. I try to combat it by breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks. It makes them seem less daunting. Also, setting deadlines, even if they're self-imposed, can be really helpful. How do you deal with procrastination, Tom?
I use a similar approach. Breaking tasks down into smaller steps definitely makes them more manageable. I also try to remind myself of the bigger picture and why the task is important. It helps to stay motivated. What about when it comes to work-life balance? Any challenges there?
Definitely. It's easy to let work take over, especially when working from home. I try to set clear boundaries by having a designated workspace and specific work hours. I also make sure to schedule in time for hobbies and relaxation. How do you maintain your work-life balance, Tom?
Setting boundaries is crucial. I make sure to stick to a routine and have a clear end time for my workday. It's also important to have activities outside of work that you enjoy and make time for them. For me, it's spending time with family and pursuing hobbies like reading and cooking. Speaking of hobbies, what do you do in your free time, Jerry?
I love spending time outdoors, whether it's hiking, biking, or just going for a walk. I also enjoy reading and cooking, much like you. Recently, I've been getting into gardening. It's very relaxing and rewarding to see something you've planted grow. What about you, Tom? Any new hobbies or interests? Or
I've been trying my hand at photography. It's a great way to get outside and explore new places. Plus, it's a nice creative outlet. I've also been experimenting with some new recipes in the kitchen. Cooking can be a fun and therapeutic activity. Do you have any favorite recipes or dishes you like to make, Jerry?
I love making homemade pasta. It's a bit time-consuming, but the end result is so worth it. I also enjoy baking bread. There's something so satisfying about the process. What about you, Tom? Any go-to dishes you enjoy cooking?
I love making stir fries. They're quick, healthy, and you can get really creative with the ingredients. I've also been trying to perfect my pizza making skills. There's nothing like a homemade pizza fresh out of the oven. Do you have any tips for someone just getting into cooking, Jerry?
Start simple and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Cooking should be fun and experimental. Follow recipes at first, but once you get comfortable, start improvising. Also, invest in some good quality basic tools like a sharp knife and a sturdy cutting board. What about you, Tom? Any advice for beginner cooks?
I'd say the same. Start with simple recipes and gradually build your skills. Don't be discouraged if things don't turn out perfect every time. Cooking is a learning process, and definitely, good tools make a big difference. So, Jerry, we've covered a lot today. Any final thoughts on overcoming daily challenges and maintaining balance?
I think it all comes down to finding what works best for you and being consistent. It's important to have a routine but also be flexible and adaptable when things don't go as planned. And remember to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. How about you, Tom? Any parting words of wisdom?
I just add that it's okay to ask for help when you need it. Whether it's at work or in your personal life, reaching out can make a big difference. And don't forget to take breaks and enjoy the little moments throughout the day. Well, Jerry, it's been another great conversation. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Thanks, Tom. It's always great chatting with you. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found our discussion helpful. Until next time.
Until next time, everyone, have a great day. Hey, everyone, welcome back to My Day with Tom and Jerry. How's it going, Jerry?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing well. Excited for another episode. What's our focus today?
I thought we could talk about how we handle unexpected events or disruptions in our day. Life doesn't always go according to plan, right?
Absolutely, that's a great topic. So, Tom, how do you deal with unexpected disruptions?
When something unexpected comes up, I try to stay calm and assess the situation. It's important to be flexible and adapt. If it's something urgent, I'll prioritize it and adjust my schedule accordingly. How do you handle disruptions, Jerry?
Staying calm is key. I also try to take a step back and see how significant the disruption is. If it's something minor, I'll try to work around it. For bigger issues, I'll communicate with anyone who might be affected and rearrange my priorities. Do you have any examples of recent disruptions you've had to deal with?
Just last week, I had a power outage right in the middle of an important video call. It was pretty stressful, but I quickly switched to my phone and used mobile data to continue the meeting. It wasn't ideal, but it worked. How about you, Jerry? Any recent disruptions?
I had an unexpected visit from a friend last week during work hours. It threw me off a bit, but I decided to take a short break and catch up with them. It was nice to see them, and afterwards I felt recharged and ready to get back to work. Sometimes these disruptions can be a blessing in disguise. How do you stay resilient in the face of these challenges?
Keeping a positive mindset really helps. I try to see disruptions as opportunities to learn and grow. Flexibility and adaptability are important skills. I also find that having a backup plan, like alternative ways to access the internet or having important files backed up, can make a big difference. How about you, Jerry? Any tips for staying resilient?
I agree with the importance of a positive mindset. I also think it's helpful to practice mindfulness and stress relief techniques like deep breathing or meditation. They can help you stay calm and focused, and having a strong support system, whether it's friends, family, or colleagues, can be incredibly valuable. Do you have any go-to strategies for managing stress, Tom?
Absolutely. Meditation and regular exercise are my go to strategies. They help me stay grounded and manage stress effectively. I also make sure to take regular breaks throughout the day and not overextend myself. How do you manage stress, Jerry?
Exercise is a big one for me, too. It's a great way to clear your mind and release tension. I also enjoy listening to music or reading a good book to unwind, and sometimes just talking to someone about what's stressing you out can make a huge difference. Do you have a favorite way to relax after a particularly stressful day?
I love to cook a nice meal and then relax with a good book or a movie. Spending time with family and friends also helps me unwind. It's important to have those moments of relaxation and enjoyment. What about you, Jerry? How do you like to relax?
I enjoy spending time outdoors, whether it's a walk in the park or just sitting in the backyard. Being in nature is very calming for me. I also like to do some light stretching or yoga in the evening. It helps me relax and prepare for a good night's sleep. Do you have a favorite place to unwind?
I love going to the beach. There's something incredibly peaceful about the sound of the waves and the fresh sea air. If I can't get to the beach, a nice quiet spot in a park works just as well. Do you have any favorite relaxation spots, Jerry?
I love the mountains. There's something about the fresh air and the stunning views that's really rejuvenating. Even just a short hike can make a big difference. So, Tom, after talking about how we handle disruptions and stress, do you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners?
I think it's important to remember that disruptions are a part of life. How we handle them can make all the difference. Staying calm, being flexible, and having a positive mindset can help you navigate through them. And don't forget to take care of yourself and find time to relax. How about you, Jerry? Any final thoughts?
I'd say don't be too hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. It's okay to have setbacks and challenges. What matters is how you respond to them. Stay resilient, lean on your support system, and make sure to take time for yourself. Thanks for another great chat, Tom. Hey, Tom, I'm doing well, ready for another episode. What's our topic for today?
Today, I thought we could talk about our evening routines and how we prepare for the next day. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Evening routines are so important for winding down and setting yourself up for a good next day. So, Tom, what does your evening routine look like?
My evenings usually start with dinner around 7 p.m. I like to cook something healthy and take my time enjoying the meal. After dinner, I spend some time with family, maybe watch a show or play a game. How about you, Jerry? What's your evening routine like?
My evenings are pretty similar. I usually have dinner around the same time. After that, I like to relax with a good book or catch up on some of my favorite TV shows. I also try to take a short walk if the weather is nice. What do you do after you've relaxed a bit, Tom?
After I've relaxed, I usually start winding down for bed around 9 p.m. I like to do some light stretching or yoga to help me relax. I also take some time to review my day and plan for the next one. It helps me clear my mind and feel more organized. What about you, Jerry? How do you prepare for the next day? Or
I do something similar. I like to review my to-do list and make sure I'm ready for any meetings or tasks I have the next day. I also try to tidy up my workspace so it's ready to go in the morning. And then I usually do some reading before bed. Do you have any tips for a good night's sleep, Tom?
sticking to a consistent sleep schedule is really important. I also try to avoid screens for at least an hour before bed and keep my bedroom cool and dark. Reading or listening to some calming music can also help. What about you, Jerry? Any sleep tips?
I find that a consistent bedtime routine really helps. Doing the same things each night signals to your body that it's time to wind down. I also avoid caffeine in the evening and try to create a relaxing environment in my bedroom. So, Tom, after talking about our evening routines, what do you think is the most important part of winding down?
I think the most important part is finding a routine that works for you and helps you relax. It's all about creating a peaceful and calming environment that allows you to let go of the day's stress. How about you, Jerry? What do you think is key?
I'd say consistency is key. Having a routine that you follow every night helps your body and mind know when it's time to relax and prepare for sleep. It's also important to find activities that help you unwind and let go of any stress from the day. Any final thoughts on evening routines, Tom?
Just to emphasize the importance of taking time for yourself in the evening. It's a chance to recharge and get ready for the next day. And don't be afraid to adjust your routine as needed to find what works best for you. How about you, Jerry? Any final thoughts?
I'd say make your evening routine something you look forward to. It should be a time to relax and enjoy, not another chore. Find activities that help you unwind and make you happy. Thanks for another great conversation, Tom.
Thanks, Jerry. And to our listeners, we hope you found this discussion on evening routines helpful. Until next time, take care and have a relaxing evening.
Until next time, everyone, have a great evening.
Welcome back to My Day with Tom and Jerry. How's it going, Jerry?
Hey, Tom, it's going well? Excited for today's episode? What are we diving into?
Today, I thought we could talk about the importance of hobbies and leisure activities in our daily routines. How do they fit into your day, Jerry?
Hobbies and leisure activities are so important. They give us a break from work and help us relax and recharge. For me, I try to make time for hobbies in the evenings or on weekends. What about you, Tom? How do you incorporate hobbies into your day?
I try to dedicate at least an hour each day to a hobby or leisure activity. It could be anything from cooking a new recipe, reading, or working on photography. It's a great way to unwind and do something just for myself. Do you have a favorite hobby, Jerry?
I'd say hiking is probably my favorite. There's something so refreshing about being out in nature. I also enjoy gardening and cooking. Both are very therapeutic for me. How about you, Tom? Any favorite hobbies?
Photography is definitely a favorite. I also love cooking and trying out new recipes. And recently I've been getting into woodworking. It's a nice hands-on activity that's very satisfying. How do you think having hobbies impacts your overall well-being, Jerry?
I think having hobbies is crucial for overall well-being. They provide a sense of accomplishment and can be a great stress reliever. Hobbies also give us a chance to learn new skills and explore our creativity. How about you, Tom? What impact do hobbies have on your life?
They have a huge impact. Hobbies give me a break from the daily grind and help me recharge. They also provide a creative outlet and a way to express myself. I think they're essential for maintaining a balanced and fulfilling life. Do you have any tips for someone looking to find a new hobby, Jerry?
I'd say start with something you're curious about or have always wanted to try. Don't be afraid to experiment and see what you enjoy. And remember, hobbies should be fun and relaxing, not another source of stress. How about you, Tom? Any tips for finding a new hobby?
I agree with starting with your interests. Also, don't be discouraged if you're not good at something right away. Part of the fun is learning and improving over time. And try to find a community or group that shares your interest. It can be a great way to make new friends and stay motivated. Any final thoughts on hobbies and leisure activities, Jerry?
I'd just emphasize the importance of making time for them. Life can get busy, but it's important to carve out time for activities that bring you joy and relaxation. How about you, Tom? Any final thoughts?
I'd say the same. Make time for hobbies and leisure activities. They're a vital part of a balanced and fulfilling life. Thanks for another great conversation, Jerry.
Thanks, Tom. And to our listeners, we hope you found our discussion on hobbies helpful. Until next time, take care and make some time for yourself.
Until next time, everyone, enjoy your hobbies and have a great day.